A decorated black Army sergeant major, keys fumbling at his own car, is violently arrested for theft by a racist cop. But the officer's badge is no match for the soldier's steel, forged in conflicts the cop can't even imagine. The late afternoon sun beat down on the asphalt of the new Liberty City Street, making the air shimmer above the parked cars. Sergeant Major Samuel, Sam, Wright, 48 years old and dressed in a simple, unassuming polo shirt and worn jeans, frowned at his sedan. The key wouldn't turn in the lock. He jiggled it, a flicker of mild annoyance crossing his deeply lined, coffee-brown face, a face that had seen too many sunrises in far less forgiving places. He was a man whose quiet demeanor and plain civilian clothes offered no hint of the 3 decades he'd spent in the U.S. Army, nor the rank of sergeant major he held, a rank earned through grit, leadership, and unwavering discipline. Suddenly, a shout, sharp and aggressive, sliced through the air. "Hands where I can see, M. Now." Sam froze, his hand still on the car door handle. He turned slowly, his movements economical, a lifetime of training keeping any surprise from showing too plainly. 2 police officers were advancing on him, the taller one, Sergeant Briggs, white, mid-40s, with a hard set to his jaw and mirrored sunglasses hiding his eyes, already reaching for his cuffs. The younger officer, Edwards, hung back slightly, his expression uncertain. "You're under arrest for attempted grand theft auto," Briggs snarled, his voice thick with accusation. Sam's eyebrows raised a fraction. "Officer, there's a misunderstanding. This is my vehicle." His voice was calm, measured, the cadence of a man used to de-escalating tense situations, not inflaming them. "Yeah, sure it is, pal," Briggs scoffed, grabbing Sam's arm and twisting it behind his back with unnecessary force. "Just your lucky day you tried boosting a car right in front of us." The cuffs bit into Sam's wrists. He didn't resist, his body remaining pliant but firm, a subtle display of controlled strength that Briggs, in his haste, completely missed. "Officer," Sam stated, his tone still even, "my wallet, driver's license, and military ID are in the center console. You can verify ownership in 30 seconds. He made sure to emphasize, military ID. Sometimes, that mattered. "Oh, I bet they are," Briggs sneered, the sarcasm heavy. He glanced at Edwards. "Hear this guy? Thinks he can sweet-talk his way out. Got some nerve." To Sam, he spat, "You got the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you." He cinched the cuffs tighter, a small, cruel smile playing on his lips. "Got the right to an attorney too. Can't afford one, we'll dig one up for ya." Edwards finally spoke, his voice hesitant. "Sarge, maybe we should, you know, just check the console like he said. Procedurally." Briggs waved a dismissive hand. "Procedure is I cuff the perp breaking into a car. You just open the patrol car door, Edwards, and learn something." Sam was pushed unceremoniously into the back of the cruiser. The door slammed shut, the sound final. "Just check the car," he repeated, his voice slightly muffled. "Save it for the judge, thief," Briggs called back, his reflection smug in the rearview mirror as he slid into the driver's seat. But as they pulled away, Sam saw Officer Edwards glance back at Sam's sedan, a flicker of doubt, a tiny crack in the wall of prejudiced certainty, an expression Sam had seen on countless young soldiers weighing an order against their conscience. That flicker, Sam knew from long experience, could sometimes change everything. For now, he settled back, his military training kicking in, observe, assess, endure. This was just another unexpected front line. The ride to the 3rd precinct was short, but the silence in the patrol car was thick with unspoken tension. Sam, cuffed and seated rigidly in the back, leaned forward slightly. "Officer Edwards," he began, his voice low and steady, addressing the younger cop in the passenger seat, "I respectfully request again that you check my vehicle. My driver's license, vehicle registration, and my active-duty military identification are all in a black leather wallet in the center console. It will clarify this entire situation." Edwards shifted uncomfortably, avoiding eye contact. You're really saying that's your car? And you're military? Sergeant Major, U.S. Army, Sam confirmed, his tone devoid of arrogance, stating a simple fact. And yes, I swear on my service record, that is my car, and my credentials are where I stated. Before Edwards could reply, Briggs barked from the driver's seat, his eyes glaring at Edwards through the rearview mirror. Don't waste your breath, Edwards. He's playing you. And military? Yeah, right. Probably got some fake ID he bought online. But Sarge, what if he's telling the truth? Edwards persisted, a new firmness in his voice. A sergeant major, that's a serious claim. If we're wrong about this. Wrong? Briggs cut him off, his voice dripping with contempt. You know his kind, Edwards. Always got a story, always looking for a handout or a way to game the system. They lie as easy as they breathe. A beat of silence, then Edwards' jaw tightened visibly. His kind, Sergeant, he repeated, his voice dangerously quiet. What exactly did you mean by that? Briggs snorted. Don't get your panties in a twist, rookie. I meant criminals. Now drop it. I'm your superior officer, and this is my collar. He's going in the system. Sam watched the exchange, his expression unreadable but his mind cataloging every word, every inflection. He'd heard Briggs's particular brand of casual racism before, in places far uglier than a city precinct. It was a poison that, unchecked, corroded everything it touched. He tried one last time. Officer Briggs, a 10-second check will resolve this. I urge you to reconsider. Briggs just slammed the gearshift into park as they arrived at the station, ignoring him. At the precinct, Sam was processed with cold efficiency. Fingerprinted, photographed, his worn civilian clothes feeling increasingly alienating under the harsh fluorescent lights and the contemptuous stares of Briggs and a few other officers. He was placed in a small, grim holding cell. As Briggs turned to leave, Sam called out, his voice calm but carrying the unmistakable weight of authority, Sergeant Briggs. You are making a significant error. The truth is in that vehicle. Briggs just scoffed and walked away. But Officer Edwards lingered. After a moment, he approached the cell bars, crouching slightly. Sergeant Major Wright, he began, using the rank tentatively, if what you're saying is true, exactly where in the console did you leave that wallet? It was in the main compartment, officer, Sam replied, meeting the young man's gaze directly. Under a vehicle maintenance log. Black leather, bifold. He saw the internal struggle in Edwards's eyes, the conflict between orders, career preservation, and a burgeoning sense of justice. Edwards studied him for a long moment, then nodded curtly. All right. Sit tight. I'll see what I can do. As Edwards turned to leave, Sam asked quietly, why, officer? Edwards paused at the door, then looked back, a resolve hardening his young features. Because nobody, Sergeant Major, regardless of what they look like or what someone thinks their kind is, deserves to be railroaded. If you serve this country, and you're telling the truth, then the least I can do is try to find it. Edwards found Briggs in the break room, pouring coffee. Sarge, Edwards began, trying to keep his tone neutral, I really think we should check that car before Impound takes it. Just to be absolutely sure. It won't take long. Briggs didn't even look at him. I told you to drop it, Edwards. The guy's a liar. Impound's already on its way. You're this close to an insubordination charge. Edwards stood his ground. With all due respect, Sergeant, even if he is lying, that car is evidence. Standard procedure would be to inventory it before it's towed. Briggs's face darkened. He put his coffee down heavily. You go near that car, Edwards, you even think about going behind my back on this, and I will personally make your career in this department a living hell. Are we clear? The air crackled. Edwards held Briggs's glare for a moment, then gave a barely perceptible nod. "Clear, Sergeant." But as he walked away, his jaw was set. He wasn't dropping it. He pulled out his phone and dialed. "Detective Ramirez?" "It's Edwards." "Yeah, listen, I need a big favor. It involves the city impound lot, and keeping it off Sergeant Briggs's radar." Later that evening, under the flickering sodium lights of the sprawling city impound lot, Officer Edwards met Detective Maria Ramirez. She was a no-nonsense detective from another division, an old friend who owed him one. "This better be good, Edwards," she said, her breath misting in the cool air as she expertly jimmied the lock on Sam Wright's impounded sedan. "It is," Edwards assured her, though a knot of apprehension was tightening in his stomach. He slid into the driver's seat, the faint scent of old coffee and something vaguely woodsy, Sam's scent, still lingering. He opened the center console. Empty. His heart sank. He frantically searched every compartment, every crevice. Nothing. He checked the glove box. Only an old owner's manual and a tire pressure gauge. No black leather wallet. No driver's license. No military ID. Ramirez leaned in. "Find anything?" Edwards slumped back against the seat, the hope draining out of him. "No. Nothing. Not a damn thing." He felt a wave of frustration and a bitter taste of foolishness. Had Sergeant Major Wright lied to him? Had he risked his neck for a con artist? "You sure this is the right car? VIN matches?" Ramirez asked, practical as ever. "Yeah, it's the one," Edwards said slowly, stepping out of the car, running a hand through his hair. This makes no sense." He was so damn certain. Well. What have we got here? A little late-night evidence tampering, Edwards. Edwards and Ramirez whirled around. Sergeant Briggs stood there, arms crossed, that familiar smug, predatory smirk plastered on his face, flanked by two other officers from his shift. "Sergeant," Edwards began, trying to keep his voice steady, "I was just double-checking." "Double-checking?" Briggs cut him off, his voice like ice. "Or were you trying to plant something? Or maybe destroy something? You know how bad this looks, Edwards. Going behind your supervising officer's back, involving another detective in your little unauthorized field trip. You'll be lucky if you're just writing parking tickets in the boondocks after this." Edwards stood his ground, though his earlier confidence was shaken. "I had to be sure, Sergeant. For my own peace of mind." Briggs stepped closer, his eyes narrowed. "Oh, I bet. And did your peace of mind find anything? Any miraculous ID? Any proof that our decorated Sergeant Major wasn't just another scumbag trying to steal a car?" Edwards glanced at the empty car, then back at Briggs, defeat heavy in his voice. "No, Sergeant. Nothing. You were right." Briggs's smirk widened into a triumphant grin. He clapped Edwards on the shoulder, a gesture that felt more like a blow. "Course I was. I got good instincts, kid. Something you still need to develop. Now, get your ass back to the precinct before I write you up for deserting your post and a half-dozen other violations." As Edwards and Ramirez were escorted back, Briggs stayed behind, ostensibly to secure Sam's car. Edwards stared out the window of the patrol unit, his mind a turmoil of doubt and a nagging feeling that something was still profoundly wrong. Back at the precinct, Edwards walked down the quiet corridor to the holding cells. Sam Wright sat on the narrow bench, hands cuffed in front of him, his posture erect despite the demeaning circumstances. He looked up as Edwards approached, a flicker of anticipation in his usually stoic eyes. "Officer Edwards. Did you find my credentials?" Sam asked, his voice quiet but firm. Edwards hesitated, the words catching in his throat. I searched the entire vehicle, Sergeant Major. There was nothing there. No wallet, no ID. It was empty. A deep frown creased Sam's weathered forehead. "That is impossible, officer. I placed it in the center console myself, not 2 hours before your encounter." His gaze was direct, unwavering. Edwards felt a fresh wave of frustration. "Look, I stuck my neck out for you. I'm in deep trouble because I believed you. And you lied to me." Sam Wright's eyes, ancient and knowing, locked onto Edwards's. "Officer," he said, his voice a low, powerful rumble that seemed to vibrate with unspoken truths, "I am a sergeant major in the United States Army. I have served this country for 30 years. I do not lie about matters of honor or identity. My credentials were in that car. If they are not there now, then someone removed them." But Edwards, feeling betrayed and foolish, shook his head. "I can't help you anymore. I tried." He turned and walked away, the weight of his perceived failure heavy on his shoulders, leaving Sam Wright alone in the silence of the cell, a decorated soldier treated like a common criminal, his word dismissed, his honor questioned. The system, it seemed, had won. The next morning, the squad room buzzed with the usual pre-shift chatter. Police Chief Miller, a man whose stern demeanor was respected throughout the department, stepped to the podium. "All right, settle down," he began, his voice commanding instant attention. "Before daily assignments, I want to address an incident from yesterday." A hush fell over the room. "Sergeant Briggs," Chief Miller called out, gesturing towards the senior officer. "Front and center." Briggs rose, a proud smirk on his face, and swaggered to the front, adjusting his belt. He clearly expected a commendation. "Sergeant," the chief said, his expression unreadable, "tell us about the vehicle theft arrest you made yesterday." Briggs puffed out his chest. "Yes, Chief. Apprehended a suspect attempting grand theft auto, red-handed. Resisted slightly, typical story. Had him processed and booked within the hour. Solid collar." "Good work, Sergeant," the chief nodded slowly. "That makes this next part particularly relevant." He then turned his gaze across the room. "Officer Edwards. You too, front and center." Edwards stiffened, a knot of dread in his stomach. He walked to the front, standing a few feet from Briggs, acutely aware of every eye in the room on him. "Officer Edwards," Chief Miller's voice was stern, "is it true that you disobeyed a direct order from Sergeant Briggs, your commanding officer, and conducted an unauthorized search of the suspect's impounded vehicle?" Edwards took a deep breath, meeting the chief's gaze. "Yes, Chief. It is true. I believe there might have been exculpatory evidence, and I had to be sure. I take full responsibility for my actions." A murmur went through the room. Briggs shot Edwards a look of pure venom. "Interesting," the chief said, his voice thoughtful. He paced once, then stopped. "Because, Officer Edwards, I'm exceptionally glad you did." The room fell into a stunned silence. Briggs's smirk faltered. "You see," Chief Miller continued, his voice hardening as he looked directly at Briggs, "we've been receiving an increasing number of anonymous but credible complaints about racial profiling and evidence mishandling within certain shifts. I initiated an internal integrity test yesterday. That vehicle was part of it, rigged with discrete audio and video." Briggs's face went pale. "A test, Chief?" Edwards asked, bewildered. The chief nodded. "And to assist in this sensitive operation, ensuring an unbiased external perspective, we had a volunteer." He gestured to the main door, which opened at that precise moment. Sergeant Major Sam Wright walked in. He was no longer in the worn civilian clothes of the previous day. He now wore the immaculate Class A Army service uniform, his chest adorned with rows of service ribbons and commendations, the E-9 rank of Sergeant Major gleaming on his sleeves. His posture was commanding, his presence filling the room with an unspoken authority that dwarfed everyone present. The assembled officers stared, dumbfounded. "This," Chief Miller announced, his voice ringing with authority, "is Sergeant Major Samuel Wright, United States Army, currently attached to the Provost Marshal General's Office for Interagency Cooperation. He graciously volunteered to assist our department with this integrity investigation. Edward stared, then a slow understanding dawned on his face. But, Chief. Sergeant Major. I searched the car. There was no ID, no wallet. Chief Miller raised a tablet and tapped the screen. A video played on the large monitor behind him. Clear, undeniable footage from a hidden camera inside Sam's car showed Sergeant Briggs, after arresting Sam, quickly reaching into the center console, pulling out a black leather wallet, looking inside, then pocketing it before slamming the car door. Evidence tampering. Obstruction. Caught red-handed. Briggs stumbled back, his face ashen. I can explain, Chief. It was a misunderstanding. I was going to log it. You can explain it to the judge, Briggs, Sam Wright said, his voice calm but carrying the weight of irrefutable truth as he stepped forward. He produced a pair of handcuffs. Sergeant Briggs, you are under arrest for tampering with evidence, obstruction of justice, and official misconduct. He cuffed the sputtering, defeated Briggs in front of the entire stunned assembly. Chief Miller turned back to a still-reeling Officer Edwards. You risked your career, Edwards, because you believed in doing the right thing, even when it was hard. That takes integrity. That's the kind of leadership we need. He smiled. With Sergeant Briggs's unexpected vacancy, we have an opening for a new sergeant. What do you say? Edwards, overwhelmed but resolute, nodded firmly. I'd be honored, Chief. Justice, decisive and undeniable, had finally been served. Sergeant Major Wright's ordeal highlights the corrosive nature of prejudice, even against those who've sworn an oath to protect. It took courage from within the system, like Officer Edwards, to challenge a corrupt superior. But should a decorated soldier ever have to endure such indignity? What does true respect for our veterans, especially black veterans who have faced compounded injustices, look like in everyday life? Comment below with your thoughts. If you believe in justice and honor the sacrifice of our military members, hit like, share this story, and subscribe for more powerful narratives that demand reflection.